of finishing kits, you know, there are plenty of different finishing kits on the market. I really like the CAD finishing kits from Meisinger. You know, there's the Dentures ones, there's the Klimt ones, there's all sorts of different kits that are very, you know, a little bit, but using the same pretty much tools. I've used these with Ceric for best part of a decade, and they really are lovely kits. But something which you can use as well as that once you've taken up that level of polish is, you know, specialty brushes that are composite based. So things like these groovy diamond brushes, any of the bristle brushes I like to use. I just keep one of them to just go through at the end, and you can get them to fit either lab burr or, you know, intraoral handpiece on a slow speed, and just take up that shine. And they really do shine the surface a lot more than if you were to just simply polish with conventional polishers. These bristle brushes are impregnated with, you know, diamond particles, or, you know, they're specifically designed in a way to maximize the shine and composite. Let's have a look at that in a little bit more detail. Okay, everybody, so you've printed your crowns. Your crowns now have come out with a beautiful material all ready to go, and they just need a little bit of finishing. So I'm going to show you next a little bit of close-up to see how I finish these crowns to get a really nice result. I use the Vitronamic stains and stain kit and the Glaze kit from them. For me, that works really nicely, but there's plenty of different composite stains and glazes on the market for you to work with. But I personally like to either just polish and have it so there's no glaze, and sometimes that works a bit nicer in my hands because then there's no glaze that can wear off, or if I make any adjustments I don't have to worry about the glaze. But if I want to add any accentuation, if I'm matching a single tooth, then there are different ways again. I can stain and glaze here, or I can make a very thin shell crown like Wally Rennie recommends, where you have a thin shell crown that you can stain and glaze on the inside of that. For me personally, I think my favorite way is just simply to polish and finish by hand here and then sit in the mouth. I tend to find that these composite materials tend to look a little bit more translucent towards the tip anyway, so I get a little bit of a gradation in colour, which is nice. So I don't tend to need to go over the top in terms of adding glazes, but that's the kit I would use if I did. So let's show you a bit of a close-up of me finishing this crown, and then once I've done that, I'll show you the difference between the one next door if I glaze it as well. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to be using our IDDA CAD finishing kit, but as I've said before about the Vitronamic, there are plenty of different polishing kits on the market, some really, really nice ones, including the Meisinger kit. Now, if we've used a straight handpiece before, you should be absolutely fine with finishing off a crown once it's printed. The really nice thing is that we print with very minimal supports. So all we're going to do is just smooth off those little sections, and then we can add a little bit of surface characteristics if we want to. So I'm just going to turn this on. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And then all we're going to do is just polish back just this little area where those supports were. And then once that's done, then I'm going to just add a little bit of surface contouring just to accentuate that surface texture. And obviously you'll do this in different ways depending on your style, the patient's needs. But I would say, do you know what the nice thing is with the fact that you can print off multiple ones of these? The first time you do this, maybe print off a couple of different ones and then have a go trying it a couple of different ways, just so that you can have a practice. And then guarantee you within a few times of printing crowns, then you're going to be a lot better than when you first started off. So we've added a little bit of surface texture. The next thing, I'm just going to start the polishing process. So again, I'm just adding these goes one at a time, and obviously whatever type of polisher you've got in-house might have different brands, there'll be different colors, but you want not too harsh because the composite's going to polish back quite a lot easier than if you're dealing with something like Emax or something like that. You'll take away a lot of the surface features that you just added very, very easily. So one of the nicest ways, once we've gone through that little bit of polishing and surface texture, to really get it shiny, I like these horsehair brushes. They really seem to bring out the shine in composite. So let's show you that. So you can see even instantly that is already going very, very nice and shiny. And that's because we've already taken a little bit of the polish there. And this is really just finishing off that polish. And I the same thing when we're dealing with intraoral composite. You can use little polishing brush, that you would use for prophy purposes, and use those slowly on an intraoral composite, and that looks beautiful. But that now is I'm just polishing this, and I do tend to find this Bego resin just tends to be polished beautifully. Hopefully you can see that there is looking very, very nice. And there we go, that's looking all finished. Now let me compare that. If we, say for example, wanted to take that a little bit shinier, add a little bit of glaze, then we can take some of that glaze that, like I've got from the Vita kit here, and just very, very thinly apply that over the top. And I would still do this once you've gone through the same process of polishing, and that's for two reasons really. If you do this after you've polished, you might decide you don't need to do any more, and in which case then that's it, you're done. But otherwise we can just cure this over the top. And I would suggest to, if you're using stains, then to add little bits, okay, once you've added the little bits of stains that you're going to be adding to create the finish you want, and then add the glaze, just flash cure that a little bit for each part, and then once it's completely done, pop it in the oven again for a couple of minutes. I say the oven, forgive me, in the curie, in the flash chamber, just to really make sure that glaze is cured onto the composite surface. So you can see now we've got some really nice reflections going on over that surface texture, and that's ready to cement once we've done that final cure in the composite oven. Me personally, I probably would have left it with the polish that I had from the polishing wheels and also the horsehair brush, simply because I can adjust it in the mouth and then shine it back up a little bit without much effort.